Hi, good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We are so excited to have you with us to learn more about some of our new programs that we're offering for summer 2024. My name is Hannah Gilkinson. I am one of the directors here at National Geographic Student Travel, and I have been designing and leading programs for the past 15 years, including some that we're offering this summer. So I am very excited to start us off and welcome my colleagues, Andrew Manzella and Ed Thanhauser, to join us today to share a little bit about our programs in Costa Rica and Japan. So Andrew has spent years traveling around and living in Costa Rica. Ed spent 8 years living in Western Japan, and they have used their experiences in those destinations to create these programs that really get kids out to varied landscapes, to cities, towns, rural places of the country throughout their journey, meeting with local artisans and storytellers, historians, and community members along the way. So they're really incredible programs, and I can't wait for them to talk about them. At the end, we will be happy to answer any questions that you may have, either about National Geographic student travel in general or about these programs specifically. So you'll see at the bottom of your screen, there is a question and answer box, and feel free to put any questions in there and we'll address them either during the presentation or at the end. And also, please do know that we will record this and send it out afterward and share it on our website so that you can share it along to anybody who might be interested in learning more. So the National Geographic student travel programs, these are designed to be educational opportunities that allow students to explore and learn while connecting to the missions of the National Geographic Society. National Geographic Society is a nonprofit organization that is committed to using the power of science, exploration, education, and storytelling to illuminate and protect the wonder of our world. So these programs provide an opportunity for students to get out into the field with National Geographic explorers and to engage in their surroundings as they learn skills such as photography, conservation science, technology and engineering, and storytelling. So the hope is that students will return home with an explorer mindset, ready to observe and engage with the world around them, and also with a real sense of responsibility and respect for other people, cultures, and the natural world. So just quickly, I'll go over the different program types that we have for high school students in 2024. Those are exploration, university workshops, and photo workshops. And we also offer exploration programs for middle school students as well. So the high school programs are designed for students who are completing 9th through 12th grade or the equivalent. The exploration category is our largest group of programs. There's 8 of those, and they are traveling programs, typically with 16 to 24 students, 2 to 3 leaders, and then the National Geographic Explorer as well. So when students apply for an exploration program, they choose a destination, but they also pick a specific on-assignment focus. And each exploration program offers 2 on-assignments to choose from. Those are photography, climate science, wildlife conservation, and anthropology, culture, and tradition. So students can expect to spend part of their day with their on-assignment group focusing on those themes and that learning, and then part of their day participating in whole group activities with the other on-assignment group as well. The university workshop is based in Cambridge on the campus of MIT, and it focuses on technology, engineering, and robotics. So this is a larger program. It has around 50 students and 6 to 8 leaders, plus 2 explorers. And throughout the program, we visit labs, we participate in workshops, meet with researchers at MIT and beyond in Cambridge, and learn how explorers and other researchers are using cutting-edge technology to address issues that are impacting the world, and using that technology in incredibly creative and impactful ways. And the students are then challenged to think about issues in their own communities or problems that they would like to solve. And then taking what they've learned and the inspiration they've gleaned from these meetings they've had, develop a final project that could potentially address that problem. And we share those out together at the end. The photography workshops are offered in Yellowstone, and these are intensive workshops where students really get out into the field every day with their trip leaders and their National Geographic expert, learning everything from photography techniques and how to use your camera to storytelling and what you can do with an image, the power of an image. And there's a large focus on editing on this program as well, as we have classroom space that we can download our images and create a final gallery of images, which we then host a gallery opening in Bozeman that friends and family and the public are able to come and see the work we've done. We have 2 middle school programs this year. One is in Iceland and is in Italy and Greece. And middle school programs are different in that rather than choose a single on assignment focus, students rotate through and learn about the two different themes offered in those destinations, which gives them a little bit more of an overview of those options. So the middle school programs are very highly structured programs, and those are currently open to 7th and 8th graders. So it's for all these programs, it's important to know that no formal experience is necessary, just really a curiosity, and a desire to learn and to explore. And we will walk you through what to expect on the program, but also provide detailed packing lists. We'll include information on any camera gear or field gear that you might find useful. And the instructors really work with each student at whatever level they join us at. So please know no experience is required. So that's a little bit of an overview. And now I want to dig into the programs that we're here to talk and learn about today. So first, I'm going to pass this over to my colleague, Andrew, who's going to share a little bit about our exploration program in Costa Rica.
Thank you, Hannah, and hi, everybody. So as Hannah mentioned before, this is an exploration program, and students will be able to choose between a focus on photography or exploring traditional art forms. So the itinerary for this program is pretty robust. It ranges from the cloud forest in Monteverde through the Central Valley to the highest peak in Costa Rica, Cerro Chiripo, and down to the Osa Peninsula, which is one of the most impressive biodiversity hotspots in the world. So in Monteverde, we'll have the opportunity to get into the forest and climb trees, search for life in the canopy, where there is quite a bit of life. It's impossible to avoid. We'll work with the famous Monteverde Institute to learn about bird identification and reforestation, and explore the Bosque Eterno de los Niños in search of the elusive bellbird and the quetzal, along with many, many other species of animal. And the group will actually be staying in a biological station where the main focus of that station is protecting the bellbird's migratory corridor. So that'll be a great opportunity for a lot of photography. And so in the Central Valley, we'll stop in the town of Sarchi, and we'll stay in a small art hotel and spend the day interacting with artisans who specialize in Costa Rica's famous painted ox carts, which you can see in the upper left there. This tradition dates back to a time when farmers would identify their carts with unique designs, because no two ox carts have the same design. They're traditionally done freehand. So while we're here, the group will visit the oldest ox cart factory in Costa Rica, and we'll work with a local artist to learn about those unique colochos designs. And those are famously attributed to Sarchi. So the artist we're going to be working with is named Isidro Masvidal. His fingers are pictured in the upper right, and he is Sarquiseño, and he's been working with these designs for 38 years. He's going to spend the day with us and go over the history of the art form, teach us how to do it freehand, and he also insists on making empanadas with us for a post-workshop coffee and snack. He's a really, really enthralling man to be around, and he never wastes paint, which he's actually explaining to me while I'm taking that photo up there. His whole studio is just outfitted in all of these paint splotch drawings and everything. He's a very interesting visit. So after Sarchi, we'll continue through the Central Valley toward Barba, which is at the base of the Barba volcano in the Heredia area. So we'll explore a different art form there, which is traditional máscaras. So these masks that you can see pictured on the bottom half of the slide, we'll work with mascareros or mask makers in their studios and learn about the construction of these masks, the history, and the fact that these masks represent not only long-told local legends and have for many, many years, but also pop culture characters and local figures. So we'll spend a lot of time doing that. Before descending to the coast, the group will summit Cerro Chiripo. As I mentioned before, it's the highest peak in Costa Rica, and this will be an incredible opportunity to photograph sweeping panoramic views of the country, along with a lot of really unique wildlife that lives that high up. So during this part of the program, this is when we'll be joined by the National Geographic expert, Marco Molina. He's an incredibly accomplished wildlife illustrator and photographer. He's originally from Heredia in Costa Rica. His work can be seen in many birding and wildlife guidebooks, specifically about Costa Rica, as well as a lot of informational signage found around Monteverde, which we'll see before meeting him. So I was actually just in Costa Rica and visiting a lot of our organization's close contacts, and was lucky enough to be able to spend some time with Marco. He's contagiously passionate about working with students on his mission as an artist, which is to cultivate a connection between people and nature. So he's a great person to be with for this type of program. Next, we will travel with Marco to the Diquis Delta, which is in the south. It's sort of the way you get to the Osa Peninsula. So we'll learn about all of these large stone spheres, which you can see in the upper right, that were left behind by Mesoamerican populations. And there's a lot of archaeological sites all over the country that have these large spheres. A really good one to see is in the Diquis Delta on the way to Osa. So once we get down there, we will take a river ferry to one of the most biodiverse sections of Costa Rica. And here the group is going to stay in another biological station, this one arguably a bit more rustic, just because it is so incredibly remote. It's nestled right into the edge of the Corcovado National Park. We'll head out on daily hikes to photograph animals like tapirs, jaguars, birds, bats, and you know, the accommodations are fit for a tropical scientist. So that will be a really exciting experience to have for those interested in that type of trip. And Costa Rica is my favorite subject of conversation, so please feel welcome and encouraged to call our office anytime and ask for Andrew. I'm happy to talk about any other nitty-gritty details about the trip. And now I'm going to pass things along to my esteemed colleague, Ed, who's going to talk to us about Japan.
Thank you so much, Andrew, and everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really happy to be speaking to you about my all-time favorite subject, which is Japan. As Hannah mentioned, I lived there for many years and very passionate about it. I'm very excited to be the person who got to design this particular experience, as this is our first year doing an exploration trip in Japan. National Geographic had a photo workshop and has had other experiences in Japan, but this year is a brand new exploration focused trip that is based in 2 on assignment themes, which I just want to go into a little bit of detail about those. They are anthropology, culture and tradition, or photography. So if you imagine the classic National Geographic magazine, it's basically focusing on the taking of those incredible photos or the writing of those really engaging, interesting articles. Is something that each student chooses at the outset of the program before they join, and they'll be paired up with. We'll have 3 leaders on this program, and those leaders themselves are working professionals in those fields, be it photojournalism, nature photography, or cultural anthropology. And so the leaders themselves are, you know, a guide that providing technical expertise and guidance on, you know, whether it's photos or interviews with locals. This is intended to be a deep dive where you take home something like a work that hopefully you're really proud of. And to that effect, I wanted to balance really what I believe are the 2 primary sides of the rural and the urban. There really are sort of two different Japans in my experience. The rural and the urban Japanese life is what most people in the West often think of. They think of Tokyo, they think of mega cities, they think of sprawling metropolises that are intermixed with castles and shrines and giant glowing neon advertisings. And that is certainly true. And we're going to go see some of those key places. This slide is showing you some of the most recognizable. That's Tokyo in the top right. We're certainly going to be in Tokyo. We're going to go to the top of the Sky Tree, take some sweeping panoramic photos of, you know, on a clear day, if we're lucky, we can see Mount Fuji from the top of the Sky Tree in central Tokyo. At the very least, you get to see just how massive this metropolis is. And we're going to go to those neighborhoods, like down in the bottom right, you see Sensoji, which is one of the most famous temples. It has a deep connection with yokai, the Japanese spirits that have inspired so much folklore, traditional art, manga and anime art. Yeah, and then, I think one of the cool things about urban Japan is because Japan is so old, urban is often suddenly interspersed with incredible historical buildings, like Osaka Castle. It's down there in the middle, in the very center of Osaka, is a beautiful historical castle we go visit. Right next door, that man with his arms up running, that's the Glico man, and he is a famous long-term, like more than 30-year advertisement in Shinsaibashi that is basically this amazing street full of incredible food in Osaka. It's called the Nation's Kitchen, what people call Osaka. And along this street, not just the Glico running man, are just the most bizarre animatronic crabs welcoming you to try certain foods or specialties. That's the kind of urban experience I'm really looking forward to showing them. There's just a huge variety. We're going to Kyoto, Osaka, and generally the Kansai area, as well as Tokyo. So when it comes to the rural side of things, this is where it's probably a little bit less familiar to your average student or somebody who's maybe having their first experience in Japan. And that's kind of on purpose. I lived in rural Japan. A lot of this is very close to home for me. I always felt more at home, like in the rice paddies in the mountains, than I did surrounded by the buildings. So one opportunity we're going to have is to go to what you see right in the center. That remarkable view is called Amano Hachidate, which is the bridge in the heavens, is what that name translates to. The Miyazube is enclosed by this sandbar. You do this very funny thing after you take the gondola to the top of the hill, stick your head between your legs, and it's supposed to look like this sand is a staircase leading right up to heaven. And it's been one of the classical 5 most beautiful views that a scholar of ancient Japan has listed as, like, these are the top 5 views of Japan. It's still considered one of the best spots. It's a great beach day, and it's not often included in a lot of visitors' itineraries. So to that theme, we're also headed out to Gifu-ken, and Ishikawa-ken, which are home to some of the more natural areas, like Hakusan National Park, which is the largest national park in Japan. It's right in the center. It's full of volcanic, wetlands, and these houses that you see in the top right. That's Ishikawa-go, which is a village that has been specifically designated as a historical importance and by the government, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. These houses and their way of life is preserved basically unchanged from 1,000 years ago. That they still have their big indoor coal fire pits. They still harvest rice in a completely natural way. We'll get to see all of that, interact with them. And I think that's one of the key things about the rural experience for me, is that it provides interactivity. I think what I really look forward to showing students on this program is an interactive and immersive experience, not just seeing Japan, but talking with Japanese people, getting a chance to see what they do and the craftsmanship and the care that they put into so much of their lives. Like handmade umbrellas from Kyoto, or the bird in the lower left is specifically connected to a place we're going in rural Tajima. This bird was on the verge of extinction. It became a very, very rare stork. And they figured out that the pesticides they used in their rice fields were killing all the bugs as designed, which then left the storks nothing to eat. So this farming community completely reinvented their agricultural methods to save this stork. And this stork is basically now their town mascot. And it's the name of every building in town, the Konotori Library, the Konotori Public Center. And they have this bird on top of their train station. It's become the symbol of what this community can do. So just to give you a really, really concrete example of what on assignment means for National Geographic, when we go to the museum dedicated to this stork, we are going to have one group perhaps go out into the rice paddies and try to get pictures of the nests and the babies, which is always really exciting. And the cultural anthropology folks could stay at the museum and interview one of the key figures from City Hall who helped spearhead this conservation effort and this radical transformation of their farming practices. So I mean, they'll go to the same places, they do the same activities, but they are, getting a chance to really dive deep into their on assignment. So yeah. Another cool thing about that area is it's just covered in natural hot springs. So what you see up in the upper left is Kinosaki Onsen, which is nearby, and this very traditional looking town with a river running through the middle and the willows hanging over it is a place where we will stay in a ryokan, which is a traditional inn. We're going to wear our yukatas, which is like a very light kimono. People who want to can experience the hot springs. We're going to head down to Izuchi, which is famous for its buckwheat noodles. See those noodles in the lower left? We're going to get a chance to make our own buckwheat noodles with a master buckwheat noodle maker and see a traditional theater that's been preserved since the Edo period, where they do like maiko and no plays, all range of traditional theater, kabuki, etc. We get to go on stage and see backstage. We're going to do some very cool. I think one of the great things about the rural areas is you get to really go behind the scenes and get really, really immersed in the activities. So, and of course, it's all for me. It's all about the people. I think that's what has drawn me repeatedly to rural Japan. Is the people are so incredible, and so it's why, like as I said in the previous slide, it's so important that this trip is interacting with Japanese people, Japanese culture directly, and not just taking a picture and moving on. This place, the places you're seeing, Himeji Castle and the Fushimi Inari Taisha Shrine, are places that are absolutely incredible views, and they're absolutely perfect for a photography on assignment. But without their context, I feel like something is lost. And that's why our experts down in the lower right, Hiroki Kobayashi, is a Hiroshima-born photographer and National Geographic explorer. He is from Hiroshima, and he's done work that's specifically exploring the lives of second-generation bomb survivors. And so I think he'll provide so much, not just technical expertise and knowledge, which of course the leaders also provide throughout the trip. He will have that because he is an incredible craftsman and working photographer, but he also provides the context of post-war reconstruction in Japan and can speak to a lot of the culture. He didn't just live in Hiroshima where he was born. He spent many, many years living in Tokyo, and he has this very insider's knowledge. We've had several conversations, he and I already. So excited for him to work with us. Just as for the picture on the left, we are going to be meditating with Buddhist monks. We're going to be learning, cool local crafts like origami. We're going to be tasting local dishes. I'm so excited about the opportunity to show what I think is a less seen side of Japan. It's sort of like the stuff, if you Google the top 10 sites to see in Japan, yes, they're beautiful, but they're not as personal as what we can do in the countryside. So I think that basically gives you my overview. I feel like it's a really well-rounded experience. It's going to go to so many places in Honshu. It's going to see so much. It's a very well-rounded experience that I think people will take away a lot from. Obviously, I could talk all day about Japan. Please do call us if you want to talk to me more about it. It's my favorite subject. Just like Andrew, please be in touch. Like Andrew said, be in touch anytime you'd like to know more. But for now, I'm going to pass it back to Hannah to talk about our leaders. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, I always get so excited when I hear Ed talk about the programs we have in Japan, and same with Andrew in Costa Rica. So as they said, please do give us a call and ask them any questions that you might have. So Ed and Andrew both mentioned the experts that are joining our programs in Costa Rica and Japan, and I would encourage you to visit our website where you can see their full bios, see some of their work on their websites, and then also learn about all the different explorers who are going to join us this summer on our different programs. But I do want to take a moment to just mention our trip leaders who are with the program from the moment they meet up at the airport and depart to the moment they return. And so they're there 24/7 for the duration of the program, and they oversee everything from health and safety to group dynamics, but they're also really well established in their fields and are incredible teachers. So they will be professional photographers, they will be wildlife biologists. They're going to be the ones who are with the students, helping them with their on assignment projects and helping them, know what questions to ask and fuel that curiosity. So I just wanted to take a moment to address a couple of them as examples of some of our leaders. And again, encourage you to go to the website to see the bios of all of our leaders from this past summer. So Alex Silva on the left-hand side, Alex is an educator. She has taught students ranging from middle school to college level. She is well-versed in everything from, remote field work to working camera traps. And she recently moved back to Chicago after teaching conservation courses in the Virgin Islands. She's been leading with us since 2009 on programs all around the globe. Leo Carrizo, he's a photographer and a multimedia journalism professor at The Ohio State University, and he's been leading photography programs with us again around the world since 2015. Mariela Vasconcelos was born and raised in Brazil. And she is a traveler and educator. She is a dive instructor, a biologist. She did her PhD research on neglected tropical diseases, and she's just a phenomenal instructor as well, who has joined us these past several summers. And William Liu. William has actually led a couple of our programs in the photography workshops that Ed mentioned in Japan, but he's also traveled with us all around the world, primarily in Asia, Europe, and Scandinavia since 2011. And he is a photographer and a videographer, and he's just an incredible individual, as they all are. So they are fantastic role models, teachers, and will be with the students throughout the course of the program. So definitely encourage you to go to the website and learn more about them. So we focus really on Costa Rica and Japan today, but we do have a lot of other programs out there. And if you call our office, you can speak with someone who coordinates your program, maybe someone who's led that program, to really get a sense for the itinerary and answer those questions that you may have about the different destinations and on assignments. You can see all the full itineraries and dates on the website. And we would, again, just encourage you to call and speak with us to answer any questions that you may have. So we are accepting applications for the summer 2024 season now. The online application system, we try to make it as simple as possible, but we do want to make sure we get to know who you are and why you want to join the program and make sure it's the right fit. So we do ask for a quick online application of basic information. And at the end of that application, you'll be asked to put down a deposit to hold space. That is a $700 deposit, and that will hold your space in the program and in the on assignment of your choice, assuming there's still capacity there. And then the next steps of the application can come in while your space is being held. And we ask for a short personal statement, just a paragraph or two about why you want to join the program, what you're curious about. And that's really helpful for us to get to know you and why you're coming to this program, but also really helpful for your leaders and the National Geographic Explorer to get to know what fuels your curiosity and what you hope to get out of your experience. We ask for 2 references from educators. These could be teachers, mentors, counselors, people that know you well enough to envision you in this type of an experience, out and exploring, working collaboratively with your peers and learning. So 2 teacher references, you'll provide their email addresses and we'll send them a form. And then an assigned agreement form as well. And then once we have those things, our admissions team can make a decision about your application. If you're accepted into the program, you will get access to what we call a digital locker, which is basically your one-stop shop resource for everything you need to know about the summer. The packing list, travel information on camera gear if you're on a photography on assignment. And that's also where we'll post information that's helpful for parents throughout the summer, information on the destination and also information on the blog that the program will keep during the summer that you can follow along with to know what's happening on the program. I should also mention about summer, our office is open 24/7 during the summer, and we're here to support our programs in the field and support students, parents, and leaders in any way we can. So I'll wrap up really quickly here, and please, do let us know if you have any questions for myself or for Ed or for Andrew. But I just want to end by saying that, these programs they're fun. They're life-changing experiences, and they offer a very unique opportunity for students to learn from experts in their field and to learn from their leaders. So the goal of these programs is to inspire the students, to empower them, with skills and tool sets so that they can become leaders in their own communities. And, that's certainly something that we have seen over the years and the many students that have traveled with us. I do also want to mention that we strive to really bring together students who, share a curiosity for the world. And throughout every step of the process, we emphasize community, inclusivity, and a positive group dynamic as just a core pillar of these student experiences. We do offer scholarships for students who would otherwise be unable to attend these opportunities, and I encourage you to see our website if you're interested in applying for financial aid on this. The application is open, and I would encourage you to apply early if you're considering that. So for now, that is all I have for the moment. And thank you so much for joining. If any questions pop up that you didn't think of in the moment, again, please email us or give us a call, and we'd be delighted to share a little bit more about our programs with you. But for now, thank you so much for joining, and have a wonderful rest of your day.